Welcome to QEDNG. This is Mighty Conversations, where we speak with people with big voices and big stories. My guest today is a jazz guitarist, music composer, writer, and producer. He began professionally under the tutelage of evangelist Ebenezer Obey. He was a member of Lagbaja's band. He has performed with international artists like saxophonist Kirk Whalum, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yep.
Jonathan Butler and the late Al Jarreau. In 2004, he won the Cora Award for Best Male Artist, West Africa. 2005, he won the Channel O Award for Best Jazz Video. 2009, he won the Nigeria Achievement Award for Best Musical Group. And in 2015, he won the Afrima Award for Best Jazz Artist in Africa. With more than 7 studio albums, several singles and EPs. He is well-traveled, and I am honored to have him here today. Some people have compared him to heavyweights like George Benson and El Klu, but I don't like comparison. I just call him Kunle Ayo, Kunle Ayo of Nigeria. Kunle,
how are you, sir? Thank you very much.
How are you?
I am so very good. Thank you for the introduction. You know, I've never been introduced like this.
Why?
I don't know. People don't do research. People don't check out, what you've done and all that. They're just looking for now. I don't know. So thank you very much for going through all of that accolades, and I really appreciate it.
Now, do you remember winning some of those awards? Some of those awards are actually quite 2004.
2004 was the first one, the Cora Awards. And I was going through a lot at the time because I had just moved into South Africa in 2002. I worked with Lagbaja, from 2000 to 2002. And then I got a deal with Universal Music in South Africa. And I had to go promote the album. So I decided to relocate to South Africa. And I was going through a lot at the time because I was the first non-South African artist who kind of was getting known. So it was a bit of a struggle. People they used to call non-South Africans kwere kwere if you're not from there. So they've called me names, and way before xenophobia. But it was strange because I was then going around and meeting the great guys there at the time. Your Louis Mplanga, so many names, so many. Gloria Bossman, she just passed away. Your Miriam Makeba and all these guys. We were just meeting, and Yvonne Chaka Chaka, they will have an event, they will book me, I would perform. I'm like, people are like, what? What's this guy? Where is he from? It was quite it was a trying time for me. So I got a call. Actually, a friend of mine came to South Africa, at Kunle Fuji. He came to submit his Cora nomination, whatever. So I told him, well, I just had this album. He said, let's submit together now. So he encouraged me. I submitted it. Lo and behold, it was amazing. And funnily for me, I did the show with Al Jarreau in Nigeria around that time.
Okay.
So I came to Nigeria, I went back. Okay. When I got back there, the first message I heard on my phone, because there were messages, the first message I said was, congratulations, you've been nominated for Cora. Oh, wow. Me, nominated for Cora, how? So it was such a fulfilling period in my life where I felt, yes, you're in the right path. No matter what I've been through in South Africa, no matter the stress, no matter any new space, when you move into a new space, it's not so easy to just adapt. And so it was that period where I was still trying to, get settled in. So Cora then gave me that assurance that you're in the right path. Keep doing what you're doing. And it kind of spurred me on. And, it's been from success to success and glory to glory. And God has just been good to me.
Fantastic. You are going to come back to South Africa because you ended up staying in South Africa for 22 years.
Yes, I did.
Which is quite a period. But let us go back to the beginning.
Okay.
I started by saying that you began professionally under the umbrella of Evangelist Ebenezer Obey.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Okay. So in 1991, I became friends with his then music director, Nee Adams. They used to have a fellowship at the time. It wasn't a church. So and then they hired musicians, and Nee Adams was like the music director of so every Sunday we'll go for fellowships. I used to look at, so I had already started learning from a Rasta.
You're Rastafarian.
Rastafarian. Rasta Evans was the one that showed me the guitar. But Rasta only knew chords, and so it was limited. So I learned what he knew. But I saw Neil Adams play guitar. I saw him play saxophone. I saw him play bass. I'm like, I've got to learn this thing. How did they do this thing? So I then started going to the fellowship, the cross at the time. And then from there, I met Tolu Obe's son. And Tolu was already a soloist. He could play stuff. I couldn't play that. So I now went to him and said, Tolu, show me a few things. And then Tolu was busy, wasn't really around. But Neil Adams was one that now showed me what a major seventh chord was and the music proper. Neil Adams was one that really showed me under Ebenezer Obey. And then because of my love and passion for it, I learned very fast. And Papa saw me. And what is this one? This is our fellowship member. Let him join the band now. That's how I now joined Chief Ebenezer Obey's band at the time. And it was me and Tolu that played Jesu Olore. I played the guitar on that one. All the tenor lines and all that. I mean, we had series of rehearsals. I mean, in those days, D.L. Joe was the producer. If you know D.L. Joe, he lives in London now. D.L. Joe also at the time, he did a lot of Kwamwan's records. He did a lot of artists. I mean, story.
These are stories that you don't. These are stories that you ever.
I didn't even think I would remember them. You know. So D.L. Joe was also one person who encouraged me. I mean, he would show me the lines and would tell me, okay. So at that time, because I was now beginning to meet a lot of nice people who would come to the church, you know, Baba Yewa and all these guys, I really fired up and I really was learning. By 96, from 91 to 96, I became one of the major guitarists in Lagos. I used to play with Gloria Ibru. Gloria had a band, G Notes. I played with Gloria, I played with Daddy Wilson, I played with Daddy Shoki, because we had a band. So our band would then back them up. So I was then almost everywhere. You know, between 91 and 96, I was almost everywhere. And then, of course, church, because I've always been a church guy. Then I went back to church. City of David was one of the churches that really, at that time, musicians were not really getting money. But House on the Rock had started. Which other church? It was more House on the Rock. And then City of David, which were on Uzumba in VI. And House on the Rock was on Muson Center. So because everybody was looking for good musicians, but they were not paying. So the time they now saw House on the Rock paying, it was, we need to keep these guys because music needs to be good in church. So I was one of the first, maybe second set of musicians that worked with City of David, where, you know, when it comes to Redeem Model Parish, one of the tops, you know. So I worked with Nathaniel Bassi, was on trumpet at the time. I worked with Tony Zino, who was there, Mike Ebere, Onome. Overi is in America now. He plays keyboard. He's an artist now. He's a pastor, evangelist, as it were. So all these guys were all just there. So between 96, I did that till about 99 when I met Kyle Olajide. So Kyle Olajide now told me that if you want to play African music, you see all these George Benson things you're doing, it's fantastic, it's good, but you need to now understand African music. Now, Baba Obi had already told me, but because I had just started, I played tenor with them for a bit, but it was too simple, because it was just from beginning to the end. But I wanted to play, you know what I mean? So I then did that between 96 and 99, because I left Papa 96. But I was still going here and there, but I mean, I was almost everywhere. So between 96 and 99, I started playing George Benson a lot. And who was our radio presenter at Ray Power at the time? Bisade.
Stars and Jazz.
Yes. So I got a lot of songs from there, because I mean, of course, we had cassette players. So I used to record them, and I would, check them out, and so I could play a lot of jazz songs. So my working with Gloria Ibru and the band really then opened me up to meeting a lot of other guys. So at that time, it was only Agbola Shadari that could really play at the level that I wanted. So I went again to Agbola to say, Omo, show me this thing. How do you do this? So it really sped up my my playing. 99, Cardinal called me, come and play with the band. So I was playing, when it says solo, I would just play, he would call me after and say, our music is not like that. We don't speak like that. We are a pentatonic people. So that is African solo, pentatonic. It was a lot of work. So I had to slow down, learn that. Now between 99 and 2000, I now got a call. After about a year working with Kado Lajide, I got a call from Yinka. Say, Lagbaja wants to go to Europe and he wants you to come. Come, let's talk. So I went to the meeting and they told me, well, they have this 2-week European tour and they don't want to take their guitarist. They needed somebody else and they would like me to work with them. The sad thing at the time, that particular gig didn't pay. I can't tell you how much it paid. It didn't pay at all. It was so sad. But one, traveling to Lagbaja, it was big at the time. What? So I had to go on the trip. Lagbaja then told me when we were there, his manager in America, because I mean, I loved what I did and I would always smile and people would remember, but what am I ready here? You know? So they now told me when we were, I think it was Spain or one of these countries, said, why don't you work with the band for a little bit? And I told him, I'm working on my album. Anytime I can go anywhere, I can leave and all that. I said, no problem. Whenever you want to go, just let me know. Don't just run off. Just let me know. I said, no problem. So between 2000 and 2002, I worked with Lagbaja. So we're going back and forth, different countries, European countries, African countries. I now got something to do with South Africa. I was buying some equipment for a friend, Gloria. She has a studio here. So Gloria now, paid my trip. I went to South Africa with my demo. I was still recording and was still checking what should I do with it. Then I went, long story short, Universal Music now got a hold of my demo. They now called me to a meeting. We love this. This is nice. This is African. This, da, 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 da. Then I said, why don't you come release it through us? So I got in. They now said, okay, that first one, because it was already done, they will release it as a, what do they call it? So the deal wasn't a signing deal. It was the other one where they just put it out and promote it. So I signed that deal with them. They now said, but we like you, come and sign an artist deal with us. That was when I now decided to move to South Africa in 2002. But I left Universal in maybe a year or two because they had this friend of mine, Jimmy Glulu, who was their major catch. So it felt like they were now shelving me on the side. They were not promoting me enough like they were. And I was on fire. I was hungry. I was everywhere. I would meet everybody and, this is what I do. I will play. I played in Cape Town one day and a guy called Richard, I can't remember his last name, he's a colored guy. He says, if I have half the energy that you have, man, I'll be a millionaire. And that thing just kind of encouraged me to say, there's fire there, there's something there. But I think more than anything else was just the love that I have for music. I'm telling all my stories. Yeah. So that was how South Africa became home for me, and I met a lot of great artists.
The question I've always wanted to ask is this. Now, you've told me how you went to South Africa.
Right.
How did you end up staying for 22 years?
Okay, so in March this year, it will be 1 year that I've been back home, but it feels like yesterday. So every day felt like I just got here. Moving up in life, but it just felt like I just got here. I didn't know how 22 years came and gone like that.
What were you doing in those 22 years?
Working. Because I have a studio. I was producing artists. I have a restaurant. We had, a lounge where I was working.
Where were you in South Africa exactly?
Well, I lived in Cape Town for a while, then I went back to Joburg. I lived in Joburg for 20 years. Yeah. So I was in Joburg. So it was just different periods of my life where, at some point to be maybe I was working with this project and this person and would do stuff. And the next year I would be on my own project. And I didn't know how 22 years went past. It was just, okay, I will soon before I knew it. And in the interim, I was still coming back and forth Nigeria. So I felt like, team should be on anymore. It felt like I wasn't really far from home. I didn't know that, no, I was not home. But when I woke up last year, and I spoke to Lawi, a friend of mine. You know Lawi, right? I spoke to Lawi. Lawi, I really want to come home. In fact, Dede he's been pushing me for the last 2 years. Come home.
Dede Mabiaku.
Bros has been saying, come home. Don't worry. Come home. Because the fear of, hey, where do I start? This is all I do. Music is all I do. But that day came when I woke up and said, you know what? If I don't do it now, I might never do it.
Didn't you feel fulfilled back in South Africa to want to come back home?
Well, fulfillment is in levels. Of course, I felt fulfilled. Winning all these awards and working with all this great. I met Kirk Willem in South Africa. I went to America. I performed with him there. I met Jonathan Butler there. saw him in America. He would, every time he would come back to South Africa, I have his number. He would always reach out and say, hey, or if I didn't know he was in town and we met somewhere, hey, bro, you're back. Hey, yeah. So for South Africa was very fulfilling. But there's always just something about home. You ask yourself, I'm going to be 70 someday. I won't be as active as I am. Will I stay back here? And remember, maybe about 10 years ago, xenophobia started. So they were now letting me understand that, yes, you look like one of us, but you are not one of us. Yes, you have lived with us, you have mingled with us, but that constant reminder was there. After xenophobia, it then began to eat home that, okay, I'm not from there. 3 years ago, I released a song titled Ile. I featured a great Zimbabwean artist, he's late now, Oliver Mtukudzi. I said, because Bra Hugh and Oliver used to tell me that.
Bra Hugh, that's Hugh
Masekela. He used to tell me that, Kunle, you can't give us what you are not. No matter how well you play. The same thing Rakayode used to say, Kadolajide, about African and they used to tell me that we need to hear, even though we don't understand what you're saying, you need to speak to us in your dialect so that we can connect. And I tried to do that. But there came a time when that environment seemed like it wasn't the right one anymore because they were not willing to speak in my language. So it needed for me to come back and connect with my people so that they can understand. Then we can go out there and be teaching them and coming back and going back. And it was just the right time. I didn't know how 22 years passed me by, as it were, but it was fulfilling. I am happier than happy that I went. I'm happier than happy that I'm back because every moment for me has just been one adventure to the other and one new thing that I'm learning and all of that. So it's been good.
Because I monitor some of the things you did in South Africa and I realized that you actually were quite busy on the South African scene.
Yes.
You were playing with quite a number of people.
Right.
In fact, this guy that died, you played with him, Jabu Kanyile.
Yes, Jabu Kanyile. Was one of my first mentors. That man was so wise. Jabu Kanyile was so wise. He had 2 wives. He's a proper Zulu man. Zulu people are very wise, very stubborn, but unassuming. He would not get into a room and be as loud as boisterous as we Nigerians are. Very quiet, unassuming. But if you sat with him for 2 minutes, the things he would share with you in terms of ideas. So South Africa was really fulfilling. I had a great time working with all the great names, all of them,
Okay, so but you were also coming.
Of course, I was also coming back and forth. Yes.
Why did you? Okay, I shouldn't say why because some of us, some of us who are Lagbaja devotees,
right?
We've not forgiven Lagbaja that he stopped playing, and we have not forgiven you that you also stopped playing with him. So what do you say to people like us who?
I would say I'm sorry. If I didn't leave Lagbaja, there won't be a Kunle Ayo. If I didn't leave him, it was not going to be a Kunle Ayo because Kunle Ayo only came after I left Lagbaja, after I went to South Africa, found myself, started understanding music in another way, eventing, business side of things, and it really helped me as a person, Maybe I stayed 10 years too long. I could have, honestly, I should have come back 2010, 2012. I think I should have. But I'm not, no regrets. It's okay. I'm back now.
Okay, so now that you're back, what is Kunle up to?
Well, it's reconnecting. It's been a very interesting journey because the soundscape has changed. There's no motherland anymore. Motherland was one of those places where we were budding, as it were. I remember I used to cutting rays. Even though I was still playing with Lagbaja, I would cutting rays for Lagbaja. I would experiment with some of my sounds at the time. And, I would see people's reaction to, are they feeling it? Are they not feeling it? And it really helped me. So since I got back, I've been kind of reconnecting with the jazz market, but more importantly, music lovers. Because what I do is not just jazz, smooth jazz, African jazz and all that, but it's at the end of the day, music that people love, people that enjoy quality music, they will enjoy it. So, some people say, I don't like jazz, but when I hear you, I like your music. So I think that it's been that for me. It's been an amazing, I've been doing a bit of tour of clubs. When I say clubs, I mean your Metropolitan Club, your Yoruba Tennis Club. I've not played there, but I've been visiting. But I've played at Metropolitan Club. I've done some jazz venues, your Scotch Bonnet, your Turaka, and people that are open to doing jazz still, as it were. But I realized that there is a market. People like yourselves, we don't know where to go, and we're trying to see how can we then come together and converge. Now another thing that I've seen with Nigeria, we enjoy residency. What I mean by that is I have a place where every Friday you can find a Kunle Ayo there. But it doesn't then mean that when you book me, you will not still pay my full fee. But Nigeria, when they see you here every Friday, when you now say my money is 5 million, they now say, number 5 million, play. So it's not necessarily working. So I realized that a lot of the artists are then doing their own events, they're doing their own show, pay to come and see my show. But for jazz and for someone like me, I want to play every day if I can. I really want to play every day. So we're trying to find a way. And I think social media is probably the answer, where we then do a lot of stuff and post it. And if you want to check a Kunle Ayo out, go check my YouTube page and you'll see me. But it's not the one-on-one connect. So the question is then to say, where can we all converge? I'm willing to come and perform. I love to perform. You love to watch, a performance from a Kunle Ayo or from anybody. All my old friends, I'm not seeing anybody. I would like to have jam sessions with all the old guys that used to play instruments, and even the newer guys. I want to connect and converge, but I don't know where to find them. So it's that question I'm going to throw back at you to say, where can we meet?
Okay, there's also this challenge that, now that almost everything has become digitized, where people can sit on their system and produce all manner of sounds, very few people are playing live music anymore. Is that a challenge?
Well, I mean, if you're an instrumentalist and you really want to play, I can't sit in my studio. This week? Yeah, this week I was in the studio practicing, and I told my wife, I said, I'm not feeling this. I want to go out. I want to play with human beings. I don't want to play with my computer. I've done that for a lot of time. I'm tired. I need, you play the keyboard, I play the guitar. I want that. So as much as people are producers and they have studios and maybe on the back end of making money, it's a good thing. But if you are passionate about live music, bro, you'll be looking for where can we converge. So I don't think that answers people not wanting to come and play. We need to find a place where we can meet every now and again and have a good time.
Okay, but there's also this feeling that it's tough to sell jazz in Nigeria, Lagos, for instance, that even if you are playing your music, at a point, people want to spray you money. At the point, you want to become
Owambe
and all of that. Because I've been involved with a number of jazz projects. The guys will start. They will come for show, first, second day, and maybe after some time, they are looking for somebody who will give them, who will spray them money. Now, how easy is it to be a jazz performer in Nigeria?
It is really tough. I'm not going to lie to you. 9 months in, I've been here for 9 months now, and it has really been challenging because as much as, well, I work with Lagbaja, and he would always tell us, if you want to give me money, you can bring it. He won't stay in front of you and be spraying. In fact, once you start spraying, he'll move. When he was playing the saxophone, So I've always believed that, I've done a lot of shows where people would literally, there was one show, one guy just gave me 100,000, like I was playing for him and he just put it in my hand. I'm like, I'm playing for crying out loud. But it's good money, so I had to take it and pocket it. But you see that people want to spray you because we're doing what you're doing. But then doesn't mean that I will then stop playing my music because you want to spray. Now, the flip side of that is the lower fruits market, where you want to have your 60th birthday, you want a Kunle Ayo. I will come. I'll play the jazz that you like. But your other guests, I have my band members who will be able to entertain them. So we'll do Afrobeats, we will do Juju and all of that. But we still do our jazz because the people that love that. But we also that cannot then, because it's not just you. At the, you have other people who like other styles of music. So we have been able to cater for that. Soon I'm going to play, not a concert, but a show. And the person that is wanting me to come do the show is thinking it's just going to be jazz. And I say, He doesn't know. But I'm going to give him everything. A little bit of Afro beats, a little bit of juju, and all that. Because we're in a market where that is what people know. However, the only thing that will make me upset is if you tell me don't play jazz and come and do it. That I will not take. But the people that will come out to see a Kunle Ayo play jazz, a George Benson song, whatever, I would do that for them. But after the night advances, then my other guys would then would now kick in to do your Afro beats and do covers of all the songs that you like. Then the juju guy will come and because people enjoy that, and I really love that too. I can't sing in juju. I don't, sing in Yoruba like that, but I enjoy it. I enjoy playing to them. So we also try to cater for that. When I played Metropolitan's end of the year party, they didn't expect that. They thought, Kunle Ayo is just about jazz. And I gave them jazz when they were 18. And when we flipped, they told me that the chairman has never in any of their events stood up to dance. The man was so happy. So I see myself now wanting to work. I'm going to be working with them closely as it were, because of being able to cater for that. So I don't think, I'm not a purist. I'm not a jazz purist. So I'm not going to say that, if it's only jazz, if you don't listen to jazz, we would cater for all the markets. Lagbaja's sound was similar to that, where even though it was ba 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 da da da, the groove would make you, even if you're not a saxophone lover, you would enjoy the music. If it is the bata, proka, gotika, something would resonate with you, to connect with you. And that is what I think music is. So I'm trying to say that sometimes, maybe when we say jazz, people think that, is that boring? So I'm trying to see how can we say music? Because it's music at the end of the day.